the next generation. Place where we discuss issues like relationships, career and business advice, education and religious matters, and much, much more. So sit back, watch, and be informed.
Hello and a very good evening. My name is Brian Moses and this is another episode of JM Talk Show. This is the last episode of the season career that we have been having for a while. Career. This is something that we've been trying to build on from primary school to high school to university. We try to build on this one thing. Everybody chooses his own role for his own reasons. Some people choose it for money. Some people choose it to bring a change in the society. Whether you have the right intention, I don't know. I have our career experts in studio already in front of this brick wall. They are here once again to impact us. They are here once again to wrap it all on this 9th episode of this season. They'll introduce themselves from the far right.
Good evening, viewers. I'm glad once again to be with you to share about career.
Oh, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, good people. It's always a pleasure to be here. And I'm always glad that we get this opportunity to share, to speak, and to make an impact and a difference every opportunity that we are given. And I'm also glad that JM Studios always considers me, considers us to come and share with the people, the young people out there. It's a privilege that I do not take for granted.
It's been a great 9 or 8 episodes so far. And from my side, I also thank you very much for always finding time to share your thoughts and impacting this generation about career. And just to wrap it up, you are a lecturer, you are a career expert, you must be having something to talk to say about the whole thing about career. And I want to start with this specific question. I know that you've gone through a lot as a teacher, as a lecturer. There are so many things that you've seen happening. You know what should be done and what should not be done. As a career expert, you know a lot of things that should be done and these things that should not be done. And so, beginning with you, somebody is growing his career. What are these things that you feel you should not attempt to do while building on your career, Mr. Martin?
Thank you. Now, from the previous episodes that we've had, we've delved quite a lot into this topic. And I think it's also key that somebody maybe that's joining us for the first time finds time to just go back and see the several things that we've discussed. But to your question, for everything there are do's and don'ts, whether written or not. And one thing I've always believed in and shared also is that every decision has a consequence. A good decision has a consequence, a bad decision has a consequence. And so it's upon the individual to decide what consequence they are willing to bear. That said and done, there are several things which I might not be able to exhaust in the course of this show, but there are things that you should always avoid in terms of career. Anything that can negatively affect your career growth. Now, one thing that I think is very important is that never say never. I think let me start that way. In this sense, in the course of your career growth or in your career path, you might have an interaction with an organization, an institution, or an individual, and for one reason or another, you cross, there's a negative relationship, sort of. You either disagree, you either part ways, you either become a victim of circumstance, you know, anything that is negative that can happen in an institution or an organization. And I always say, don't be so quick to bang that door, because you don't know when you might need it. I think in one of the episodes, I shared about the bank employee that used to be a very serious drunkard, and it used to affect his work. Only for him years later to come and sit on an interview panel that was supposed to interview the same branch manager that tolerated him at his lowest. So I think using that alone as an example, it's very key that we learn not to bang doors, because you don't know when you might interact with that person again, in what capacity. Even a junior staff might end up being somebody that you might need along the career path. So it's very key that we learn to shut our doors slowly when we are leaving. You know,
we have to shut them,
if we have to, yes. So that there's always room for you to go back if that need ever comes. So that you also don't find yourself in a very awkward situation when you finally have to interact either with the organization or with the individuals within an organization years later. And I think we should also borrow a leaf from the politicians, especially Kenyan politicians. One election cycle, they are on this side. The other elections, I think we should borrow a leaf in that. So that we know that, like they say in politics, there are no permanent enemies, no permanent friends. I think it should also apply in career.
Madam Maggie, of course I always like making this reference because you interact with a lot of students and a lot of young people who are looking forward to, you know, grow their careers. And I know that you also have the do's and the don'ts. And just from your side, what are the don'ts that you consider that somebody in the course of building your career you should not, you know, really do? You understand? Yeah.
Now, what I would want is that somebody should remain focused. Seasons change during one's career, and if one is not focused, isn't sure of what he wants to be doing to make a living, to earn, and to be satisfied, they can easily be discouraged, draw back, and try something else. So it's good to be focused. And beside that, to have timeline to plan for developing, going back for training. Because you realize with changing times, or within a span of time, like maybe 5 years or 10 years, technologies change, and the way things are done changes, and especially now with the dynamism of internet and technology. So therefore, I would advise each and everyone to always go back for training, either to broaden or even to get deeper. What I mean by broadening, I mean, for example, if you are in finance, or you are a person in finance, it would be good maybe to do a training that is related to finance, like maybe financial analysts, whatever. Something that is related, that makes you more marketable. You can easily move from one area to another in case times become lean. So learning should learning should be continuous.
And okay, now after training, Martin, you are out of the field. You still need to grow. You still need to, you know, develop your career. But here comes the challenges. Some of us, for example, you say most students, they leave school, they start a family, then after some time you realize that it's tough outside here. Give an advice.
It's meant to be tough because...
What do you mean?
I saw some quote some time back where they said that the generation that goes through the toughest times ends up being the most innovative, the most prosperous, productive. Why? Because they say that necessity is the mother of all inventions. So sometimes those challenges, if well handled and well understood, if they find you well prepared, like Margaret is talking about, even the training, they are meant to get the best out of you. Because I've come to realize that the human nature is built to overcome even the toughest of situations. Only that unfortunately sometimes circumstances and situations come to us when we are not well prepared, or when we are not psychologically cognizant of our abilities. Like Margaret is talking about going back and acquiring that extra knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
If you realize, organizations nowadays are taking a different direction where they are merging departments. So that you find somebody in finance, say the finance manager, will also be overseeing something else, either HR or, you know, sort of almost related roles and responsibilities. And so even as Margaret is advising about acquiring that extra knowledge, I think it's key that having been in a career path for some time, we, as the individual, we question ourselves and see what else can I acquire as a skill that will make me competitive. And that's why I'm saying times are meant to be tough, because out of the tough situations, most of us discover what we are really made of. And when you come to the other side of business, they tell you, when you listen to people like Warren Buffett, they tell you that when everybody is scared, when there's fear all over, when the circumstances are very dire, it is the best time to make your move. What does that tell you? That if you're well prepared, when everybody else is scared, COVID made very many people millionaires, not the COVID millionaires of Kenya. You know, those that came with the scandals at KEMSA. But there are people that were found well prepared for that particular moment, and they got their break in life. So I think the biggest challenge, and here I think I'd also speak to those that are of the faith, is you seek God's wisdom to be well prepared for every season in life. Not every challenge, not every negative circumstance is meant to destroy us. Quite the contrary, most of the difficult challenges that come our way are simply stages for us to discover or to showcase our very best, which most of the time we are not even aware of. So that's why I'm saying those of the faith, let us seek that wisdom to know that this thing does not, the difficult situation is only meant to bring forth an aspect that I could not have realized before. I think Amazon, after COVID, during COVID and after, they are making more money. So, yet there are people that have been negatively affected by COVID even to date. So those negative aspects is for us to be prepared. And sometimes it's good to be prepared for the worst, even when it's not in sight. Just be prepared for the worst. So that, you know, in case this one fails, I have the plan B. But be deliberate about it and just, it's not easy. It's not as easy as I'm saying it, but it is something that it's a challenge to all of us.
Just a one-word answer, Mr. Martin. Now, for somebody who is at the university, does it mean that out here is tough? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Madam Margaret, you are a lecturer. You want to advise me as a student who has just graduated and now I'm going to face the outside world. Martin has said it's tough. I don't know your view on this. Is it tough as Martin says it is?
Definitely for beginners, it's very tough. First of all, getting that first job. You get the pay is low for many of them, and the opportunities may not be there. So it is tough, especially for the current generation as of now, because the job market has narrowed because of economic downturn.
Now, how do I overcome? Even if I don't overcome, then how do I maneuver through this toughness?
Good. Let's assume I did law. Well, I am still looking to get an employment either with an advocate or the government. I should have another thing that I can do to make a living, to keep first of all, to keep myself busy. Because when I have realized when somebody is idle, there's so much hopelessness, desperation, and pity party, so many feelings, so many negative emotions that comes about when somebody is idle. So I would advise that that graduate, whether diploma, degree, or whatever, well, they are waiting to get placement in their area of specialization.
Find something to do.
Get something to do that you are passionate about. There are so many things that we can do. And I wanted to add something. That when we decide on a career, that is not a do or die. Let us be ready to deviate and diversify. To diversify, you can go to something completely different. Or even be in that career, but you're doing something else. I've heard of policemen they are police officers, but they have bought land somewhere and they are doing farming. So he's a career policeman, but he's doing farming. So that it becomes easy to maneuver around the challenges of life, and especially to be able to sustain ourselves. So let us not be rigid to that career or that course that we did. And two, times changes. As I said earlier, there's a time when you are done just a BCom, you are good to go. But today, everybody has a BCom. But at the time, it was marked out. The same case with accounting, ICT, and computer. Many of the courses that we are doing. So we should be open-minded that I can do something else. And I should be ready to diversify. Even companies do that. Let me give an example. A company may start off, maybe it's doing sales. Then it realizes things are not good. It decides to go back and begin manufacturing. Manufacturing was not in their mind, but they have realized there is an opportunity in manufacturing. So why not manufacture? That is doing something different from what they were doing, but it is giving opportunity. So personally, I feel we should be open-minded, whether we are graduates or we have been we've been working for some time. And then career is not just white-collar job. We have careers that are hands-on. People who are doing farming, even there's need for training. There's need training on marketing or even doing marketing and maybe professional farming, carpentry, all those. Every career, whether a white-collar job or hands-on, it needs training and regular.
Maybe Mr. Martin, you have something to add on that?
Training, regular skills acquisition. But I think the most important thing is also time. whichever path you take, time is of great essence, so that you don't go into a career path today and tomorrow you are this very big, short and successful guy that everybody envies. It doesn't work like that.
But Martin, you know when we go online and we look at these, our peers who have really done a lot of things with life, they've really achieved much. Everybody says that it doesn't work, but we see it working for other people. And that's where the questions come from, because shed some light on this. I'm a law graduate, and then I go to this firm where they want to pay me 10,000 Kenya shillings. But in my mind, I know that a lawyer, okay, maybe this may not be salary, but just for example, a lawyer, I know that I should be paid 80,000 Kenya shilling. You know, so I go there and this man wants to pay me 10,000 Kenya shilling. Shed some light. How does this thing work? After college, what should I expect?
And that's why I was talking about time. Time, because in the span of time, there are several things that come your way. Experience, networks. You don't acquire them outside time. You know, it is said that for you to be an expert in anything that you do, you have to spend at least 10,000 hours. So if you divide that by days, you know how long you need for you to be called an expert in a particular line. So time is key. And let us be comfortable to go through the process. I think that's where even these aspects of people being suicidal come from. Because we don't appreciate value for process. And your process is not necessarily, sorry, my process. Why? Because we don't all start at the same point. It's not, the race of life and career is not like 100 meters where we all start from the same spot. It is not. Why? When I finished Form 4, that very day that we did, I think it was biology practical, the last paper, a classmate of mine, that weekend, they were married. I don't want to mention the ethnic, so that I don't look like I'm profiling. Yeah. They had a wife. The only condition was for them to finish high school. Yeah. And they had a business set up for them. Not for the family, for them. To provide for the family, his family. We don't start on the same place. Are you together? So the challenge is, when we think that just because we graduated in the same year, we all finished high school the same day, then we are starting at the same level. No. Some of us have to educate siblings. Not one, not two, not three. So by the time your salary begins to make an impact in your life, it's 10 years down the line. Yet there's another one who is the last born. So their first pay, even the 10,000 that somebody else feels is minimal, for them, they are able to do so much with that 10,000. And you wonder, how come this person gets 10,000? Somebody was once telling me, but my brother is a security guard and he's able to build, he has built a home, a house at back home. Me, with my government salary, I have not achieved anything because we don't start at the same level. Number two, our speed is not the same. Why? Because we are differently, we have different capabilities, you know? So before you get suicidal, you put so much pressure on yourself, on what your peers have achieved. Take time and take stock of yourself. Am I doing the very best? If you are not, then now start from there. But let it not be, no, Brian has achieved so much since we graduated. Have I done my very best? Have I looked for every opportunity? Have I taken advantage of every opportunity that came my way? Have I utilized my skills, my networks, everything to the very best? Have I been diligent? You know, it's just the same as when we are in school and we do an exam and somebody scores an A, somebody scores a D. When I deal with students, my question is not why you scored a D. My question is, what is your ability? Because I might be too hard on you because you scored a D, yet all along you've been an E student. So I miss the point that you actually improved from E to D.
Yeah.
And this one that is bragging with their B actually dropped from A. You understand?
Yeah.
So if we don't look at it from an individual perspective,
Yeah.
we miss so much. And sometimes we blame the society, but we put the pressure on ourselves. If another good friend of mine, we met at an accounting college where I went before pursuing the degree in education. Within, I think, the first year of our accounting studies, he used to come driving. We are fresh from high school. He had one of these mutual funds where the father had invested. I think back then he had put in around 250,000. Today I look at him on Facebook. He is interacting with very serious Kenyans out there. You understand?
Yeah.
And coincidentally, after our college, our brief stint at accounting college, we met again at university. But we are not on the same level. We are not. Because we would close for the semester and he goes to Kisumu airport, takes a flight to Mombasa, when I'm still thinking when my bus will leave. Because we don't start at the same point, we don't move at the same speed, but be diligent. Somebody once said, stick to your lane. I think that's the rule. Stick to your lane. That's what applies in the 100 meters and most of the other races. Just stick to your lane.
So, Martin, does it mean that a perception that most students have that because I've done this course, I deserve big, is a mirage?
It is. It is. Somebody can do a very useless course and immediately they step out. They make it big. They start at a higher opportunity than everybody else. Why? Because law, engineering, and I think aviation, those are the most high flying, and medicine. But not everybody that does medicine immediately becomes a very important doctor. You understand? Because it takes time. Not everybody that goes to the KQ school or wherever they are taken at in South Africa immediately comes and makes it big. No.
Madam Maggie, I'm a student. I've graduated, you've graduated. I did my degree, you did your certificate. We go look for a job and we are paid the same salary. Is it fair? Should it be that way? Is that part of development?
Certificate.
Degree. I did 4 years, you did 1 year.
Definitely it's not fair. But it depends on what one is looking for. If, for example, I know what I want, what I'm looking for, what I want, the certificate would not bother me. I mean, that low salary wouldn't bother me. I would be bothered if I don't know where I'm going. That is what should bother me. Because that starting point should be a stepping stone. Because again, you can't stay at idle and just because the pay is low. As I said, when you get into any employment, there are benefits. One of them is experience, which is not gotten when you are looking somewhere out.
Yeah.
You talked of networking. So those is what I should be looking for and inculcating. I'm not looking at the salary because I know I can work my way out in the decent future and get something better. Yeah.
So it's not fair, but it's okay.
If I could say something, life itself is not fair.
What do you mean?
And sometimes I even dare say, and I know this one is usually controversial, even God is not fair. God is just,
I'm waiting
but
for your
not
next
fair.
point.
In this sense, maybe just to deviate a bit, the Bible says the wages of sin is death. So if he was to be fair, most of us would be dead. But he is just. You understand? So, and I think this is what I've always been telling the young people. Don't expect fairness when you go out there. Because it's a skewed world. And such things might be rare, but they happen. That somebody that is of low qualification, and not necessarily with a lot of experience, because I know with government, experience beats qualification. And most people that I've interacted with, they tell you, especially in the civil service, somebody could be there with a Form 6, A level. But because they've been in that ministry or that department for the last 30 years, you come with your PhD, you're going to report to them. Because nothing beats experience. So if you're going to go there and expect so much, you're going to be disappointed. But if that pay is able to sustain your needs in that season, take it gladly. You understand? But also understand that you're taking not just the pay, but the experience, which is invaluable. I'm telling you, there are people that will take the risk. Like I think we were discussing off air about somebody that has volunteered, I think, in one of these international organizations for 12 years. They know what they are doing. Because what they can get, for example, from the UN, from Red Cross, from whatever other organizations, is so much than any other pay. That so long as that pay is able to sustain you comfortably, look at those other underlying benefits that you cannot get anywhere else, and take it gladly. And I think that's where most of us miss it.
And Madam Maggie, I know that we've done 9 episodes, and probably this is our last one. I know that you must be having a word for somebody who has been watching this show, he's been following up on us, he's been, you know, looking at what we are talking about. What is this one word that you can tell somebody, just your parting for this show, that is, and for the whole episode?
Okay. One thing what I'll say is that there's nothing that is permanent, that remains the same. And over the years that I've worked, I've realized it's good to expect change. And when you expect change, then when it comes, you brace for it. You're prepared for it. Your mindset is prepared to do whatever else. Problem comes in when people expect life to be, or career life to be good. But things change, as I've been saying. There are always shifts in career.
Mr. Martin?
Just like life is not a straight path, so is career. And it's good to be sincere with yourself. Like I said, I think in a previous episode, manage your expectations. And most importantly, just be diligent in whatever opportunity you're given, in whatever season. because you don't know what it will open up to. There's this cliche that when one door closes, another one opens. Unfortunately, most of the time we keep on looking at that other door that has opened and we can't find it. But I think it's a very important attitude when you are approaching career and life. That one small bump along the road is not necessarily the end of the trip. You know, that there are going to be many surprises. For example, COVID came with a lot of surprises. It brought so many shifts in industries, in organizations that are there to date. I know of an organization that no longer rents office space. They've gone fully virtual. They only meet when they have big meetings where everybody is needed. So they go and hire space for that particular day. But everything else is done from the comfort of somebody's home. So, and the only thing that is permanent is change. That one will never change. So if you go out there with that attitude, manage your expectations, and sometimes it's important not to be so hard on yourself. Reason being, life is already too hard. You know, just cut yourself some slack. If you've done your best and it didn't work out, it doesn't mean that that's the end of it. You know, and when you turn a corner, take it boldly, move on. Who knows, within a short time you might find back your bearing and you pursue it. But it's important, I think we've shared this previously, to have people that hold your hand, people that have gone ahead of you, people that you can be vulnerable to and be truthful with, and who can also be truthful with you, so that even when you are going through those turbulences in the career path, you have a support system that will help you sail through.
And
I think I need to add something else. There is also, I think, this bringing the issue of trusting God for new things.
Yes.
He's always doing a new thing.
True.
And he reigns in the affairs of this world. So having trust in God and knowing that he will take you through the journey of life is I think it's the greatest thing a young person could have. When you know that when you know that your God will see you through, will give you new doors, will give you expansion. When you know, not when you hear, not what you hear, when you know.
Yes.
When you know.
You are confident about it.
Yeah, then life becomes easier.
All right, and it's been a great show. It's been a great episode. Maggie says nothing is permanent, expect change. Of course, Martina says that you should manage your expectation and have people to hold your hand. I have to pass thanksgiving from the men behind the camera. We've been one of the greatest benefactors of these shows. You've really taught us a lot as a people who are, of course, still learning and developing their careers. And we are so thankful. Thank you for finding time for the 9 episodes. You've been here anytime that we need you. You've been always here to support us and to have a talk with us. May you be blessed. Again, my name is Brian Moses. Once again, I want to thank our viewers. If you missed any of our shows, as Martin said, you can scroll down and look for the shows and look for things that you need. I know that they're going to be impactful. I know that the questions that you have will be answered. If you have any personalized attendance, 0798950046 or 0707608065 for our numbers. You can reach out to us and ask any question that you want. Meanwhile, you can go to our channels, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, like, share, and comment to our channels. May you be blessed. Thank you for being with us. God bless you. Bye-bye for today.
How can a young person be consistent on a purpose. How can a young person...
You see a person doing or behaving a certain way, it is out of information. You dress like you think.
God bless you.
You talk like you think. Out of what is inside here, the fullness within here, that's what the mouth speaks. So what you have in your head, you behave like that.
What do you understand by social media?
Yeah, social media, it's a platform, it's a connecting platform.
All right.
Just as the word goes, social media, it's a platform for mostly socializing. It's a media of exchanging information.
To be inspired, be ready to be transformed, be ready to get something great, something that is going to change you. Be ready to receive a word for you.
There's this cliche. There's this cliche that when one door closes, another one opens. Unfortunately, most of the time we keep on looking at that other door that has opened and we can't find it.
I've realized it's good to expect change. And when you expect change, then when it comes, you brace for it.
If you've done your best and it didn't work out, it doesn't mean that that's the end of it. And when you turn a corner, take it boldly, move on. Manage your expectations.
When you know that your God will see you through, will give you new doors, will give you expansion. When you know, not when you hear, or not what you hear, when you know.
I know that they're going to be impactful. I know that the questions that you have will be answered.